Hey guys, after the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer, everyone is in a Spider-Man mode, and you know what? That is great. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero ever, and Peter Parker just might be my favorite character of all time. But now that everyone is in a Spider-Man mood, I thought let's take a look back a couple decades ago, and let's take a look into the well-loved Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. Now, I'm not going to be making a video on each movie. I've already made a video on my favorite Marvel movie ever, Spider Man 2. And so, even though you should check that video out, this video is going to be a little different. One of many people's complaints from people who both like and dislike these movies is that Mary Jane is a bad character. And I'm here to tell you why I think she's actually a great character. Now, let's see the main complaints people have with MJ. She's loud, always screaming, self obsessed. Sure. Firstly, one thing I have to make sure people think to write a good character, they have to be likable, and that's not true. To write a character, they have to be engaging. Some of my favorite characters are Andrew Neiman, Henry Hill, Joker, Travis Bickle, Jake LaMotta, and many more. And all of them are not morally likable, but they're engaging. Now, Mary Jane is comparatively more likable compared to those characters, but to me, although I understand the criticisms against her, that's just complaining about something surface level and ignoring a lot of things about her. Mary Jane Watson, she is and feels like a real person. We are human beings. We have our fears, our passions, our personal ambitions, our goals, and people we care about in our life. There are many traits that make us human. Mary Jane, too, has these things. In the first film, we get a fantastic introduction to the character. She dates Flash Thompson and Harry for a short while, but ignoring Flash,
I wouldn't want to fight me neither.
her relationship with Harry is really well done. Harry really likes MJ, but his core flaw is that he's trying to impress his father, Norman Osborn, throughout the entire movie. So this causes him to treat MJ like someone he can use to get closer to his father. And for a while, she actually goes along with it. In this scene, Harry tells MJ that
Why didn't you wear the black dress? I wanted to impress my father.
his father likes the color black, and so in the Thanksgiving scene, as you can see, she wears black. She is going along with Harry to make him happy. But in that scene, after everything goes to shit, Harry lashes out at MJ.
So just keep your mouth shut about stuff you don't understand.
Harry Osborn.
This is the moment where she realizes that Harry isn't for her because he cares more about his father and she probably means nothing to him. It's extremely tragic. Now, there's this one great scene in the backyard where MJ and Peter have this tense moment alone. Mary Jane has an abusive father and her home life just sucks, which contrasts with Peter's home life with a loving uncle and aunt. The conversation starts with typical icebreakers. They talk about where they want to go and what they want to do after college. A normal conversation. Peter talks about wanting to move into town and work as a photographer. And there's a terrific moment where MJ doesn't open herself to Peter. She looks away and feels shy. I mean, wouldn't you be? Imagine, you have an abusive father and have had two boyfriends that just don't give two shits about who you really are and what you want. What's the chance that Peter's any different? What if he's just like them? But then Peter nudges and she tells him that she wants to.
Act on stage.
But then Peter tells her that it's
Perfect.
he supports her for what she wants. And man, look at that smile on her face. My heart can't even take it.
No, he can't take it.
She's right, you can't.
She smiles because she finally finds someone who actually cares about her, who she is and what she wants. This is why she falls in love with Peter Parker. It's a great romance because it isn't forced. The characters have been set up, their ambitions have been set up, and the relationships with each other have also been well set up. After another great scene between them where Peter indirectly lets out his feelings to her in front of her, at the end of the movie, MJ lets Peter know her love for him. He can't let her know that he is Spider-Man, and so despite him loving her as well, he friend zones her.
I love you.
Yes! 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 Yes!
I will always be your friend.
No! No! No!
But in this video, we are seeing things from MJ's perspective. She does not know he's Spider-Man, so when she gets friend zoned from her point of view, it's heartbreaking. Imagine, after going through rough relationships with people, meeting someone who makes you feel like you, and then imagine realizing that the person doesn't love you back. It's painful. Now, Peter does love her, but she doesn't know that. Not yet. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man movie ever made, but we're going to be talking about how the character of Mary Jane is progressed in this movie. In Spider-Man 2, Mary Jane is now already an actress on stage, so we feel good for her. She got what she had always wanted, and she got it without Peter. Now, this is the movie where people think MJ is the most annoying, and although I can understand, People are saying this because they're apathetic to her situation. Seeing things from her perspective, Peter is just a terrible person. I mean, he can't make time for her. They're extremely close friends. She tries to reach out to him again in the backyard, which is a nice way to reference the previous movie, but Peter again rejects her.
Oh boy, yeah.
Peter can't make time to come to her play. Now, little does she know how shitty Peter's life is. To her, Peter's just being extremely weird. So then she dates J. Jonah Jameson's son, John Jameson. Now, from what we see, he's a nice guy. We like him, but still, we can tell that deep down MJ longs for Peter. After this upside down kiss with John, the camera zooms in on her face, and we can tell that John isn't the one in her mind. She still has a spot for Peter. It's very effective filmmaking. Now, after she gets kidnapped by Doc Ock and saved by Spider-Man, she gets to know Spider-Man's real identity. And it's this great moment where she has a sigh of relief, and even we feel that. Those times he used to be late now make sense. She realizes that he does love her and always has, but now she knows the truth and she understands why. Now, this film could have ended in a similar way to the first one. MJ realizes Peter is Spider-Man and can't be with him, but Sam Raimi doesn't do that. On the day of her wedding, she leaves, runs away. To who? That's right, Peter Parker. This is great. Why? Because actions reveal true character nature, and MJ's action to run away shows us who she cares about the most. Also, isn't it for her to decide who she wants to be with? She feels like an independent character who can make her own choices. So after they kiss and Peter swings away as Spider-Man, the final shot is of MJ against the wall, alone, realizing the difficulty she would have to face from that day. It's so beautiful yet so bittersweet. This isn't the best film to progress her character and is obviously the weakest film in the trilogy. It certainly has its flaws, but I still love Spider-Man 3. There, I said it. Now, continuing from Spider-Man 2, we expect Peter and MJ to have this perfect couple relationship. But no, in Spider-Man 3, Peter changes. He goes from being a loving and caring person to becoming more egotistical. So when viewing things from her POV, he is being extremely selfish and self-centered. Peter kisses Gwen in front of MJ and expects her to accept his marriage proposal. And I'm really proud of MJ to even manage to put up with this jerk. Even later in the film, when Peter is consumed by the Venom symbiote, he hits her and you feel extremely bad for her. By the end of the movie, her character isn't as well explored, but the final scene was beautiful. In the beginning of Spider-Man 3, she talks about singing and Peter being in the front row, and the final scene is exactly that happening. It was beautiful and cathartic. Now, I would have loved to see where Raimi would have taken the characters further, and I'm sure that it would have been extremely great until, Sony rebooted the entire character, and I'm still not over that. But I think it's time we appreciate how much of a great character MJ really is. She's an actual person with personal problems, ambitions, relationships, and struggles. Mary Jane is so much more complex than people make her out to be, and this is why. Thank you for watching.